So I don't even know if I should do this video, but I'm gonna go for it. So first off, fair use. So I'm here at work and I'm overhearing my coworkers when I come in talk about this guy, Deshaun Watson, and the conversation was that this guy will not face any criminal time in jail for being accused of sexually assaulting women. And I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't they just go through this with like Ben Roethlisberger? And I had to go back because it made me curious to look and see what was that case like. Come to find out, it was something like this, guys. Multiple cities, multiple accusers, no jail time. And I'm like, this is a pattern. This is a pattern, you know? And you know, and from there, you'll always have people that are going to say, oh, he did it. And you're going to also say, oh, he was framed. So I want to show you what I thought about when I went back and looked at the Ben Roethlisberger stuff. Because, I mean, at the time, I wasn't into this and I didn't care. I heard about it, you know, because where I live now, you know, I'm surrounded by people that, you know, are not into the stuff we're into. And when you hear them conversating, it's about sports. It's about celebrities still. It's about useless stuff. But I'm like, there's a pattern going on there. When you're accused, you're scared, and but you don't face any jail time. And then when these guys told me, they said he had like 21 accusers. I was like, 21 accusers? And none of them were credible enough? Are you kidding me? You'll see. Hold on. Fair use.
The golf tournament in Lake Tahoe. Ben Roethlisberger at last year's celebrity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe, Nevada. The lawsuit claims the Steelers quarterback raped a Harrah's hotel employee at this event in July of 2008. Andrea McNulty's attorney filed the paperwork last Friday, but the lawsuit just came to light late last night.
She's been an employee at at Harrah's, in the Lake Tahoe area for several years now. And beyond that, there isn't a whole lot out there.
Mike Florio, editor of ProFootballTalk.com, broke the story. Here are the details of the civil complaint. McNulty claims Roethlisberger called her to his room complaining about a problem with his TV. Allegedly, McNulty could see no problem with the television or the sound system and so informed Roethlisberger. The complaint says, as McNulty attempted to leave the room, Roethlisberger stood in front of her, blocking her way. Roethlisberger grabbed McNulty and started to kiss her. McNulty was shocked and stunned that this previously friendly man was suddenly preventing her from leaving, was assaulting and battering her. She protested several times, but instead of stopping, Roethlisberger began fondling her. She claims to have told him, quote, "You don't want to do this."
No witnesses. It's the classic he said, she said. It conjures memories of the Kobe Bryant case from several years ago.
She claims to have told him, quote, "You don't want to do this."
No witnesses. It's the classic he said, she said. It conjures memories of the Kobe Bryant case from several years ago.
It conjures memories of the Kobe Bryant case. That right there was my like, wait. And like I said, as I started looking into this was not the first one. This was in Lake Tahoe, Utah. There was one in Vegas. And the big one was finally the one in Atlanta. And as I'm listening to the details again about the one in Atlanta, I was like, this is way over my head, but there's too much connecting it, you know? And I'm just like, this is I hate to say a tradition, because what they're doing is disgusting and it's wrong, but it seems like it's like something. It seems like it's a tradition of theirs that a quarterback is always going to get, brought up in these things eventually. And I don't know what the angle is, but that's just too many accusers, going back to the first guy, for you to not end up in jail. And then the same thing with him.
6 months ago, I was retained by a client of mine and close friend to investigate allegations against Ben Roethlisberger in a Las Vegas nightclub that were absolutely identical to this Georgia girl story. And the outcome was that the...
Now that's another one, right? All right. So this is supposed to be his third accuser, and you're telling me that he followed the same pattern for the first two. I'm just saying, unless he's brain dead, it sounds like some type of setup. And I'm not talking about the accusers. I'm talking about somebody, one of his handlers, if that's what you want to call them, had these scenarios set up to the same exact way.
Young woman did not want to proceed, and we dropped it, and we never took any action. But there is a history here, and I can't say any further because we never proceeded with it, but there's a history here that is just super troubling.
Wow. I was going to ask this, even before I heard that revelation, is, in your experience, Harry, there's a guy who is accused of rape, who has this, or a sexual assault, who has this pattern. Does he feel emboldened when the charges are dropped, or does he feel lucky? And is he more likely to be scared straight?
Unless he's totally brain dead, and we don't know, he would be scared because he has really walked the perilous line here, Jerry. There's a whole litany here. Not only my experience, I have connected with several other people that have experience. And, there's only so far that he said, she said will get you. There are only so far that paying hush money will get you if hush money is paid. And there's only so far as, gee, we're all celebrities, we have a target on our back, will get you. When you see this much smoke, month after month, and continuously, and from, this young woman was out with her sorority sisters in a bar in Georgia.
See, that's where it got me when they brought up the sorority. They're like, I started thinking this is that Dave Chappelle skit, right? Where he's on a date with this chick, and this reporter comes up and asks him, hey, what is the most disturbing thing you've ever done sexually? And she's like, oh, I know, I had a threesome in college with two dudes, and my sorority sisters were there, cheering me on. And I'm like, the traditions of the Greeks often have a lot to do with, sexual interactions. And here you have fraternities that are using Greek alphabets, and names. I'm like, huh. Did Ben Roethlisberger tick off somebody, and they're using people that are in these fraternities as what would you call it, crisis actors to catch him, to remind him, hey, you're not this, you're still Ben Roethlisberger, You think you're, above everything, and no. So let's scare you. I think just from the details, it's just too obvious. But I'm saying, this is all connected. And I really just started thinking about it, like that was, how can you have 22 to 21 cases put on you of accusers, and none of them stick in a criminal, court? And it was just something else. I brought this up to Vincent last year when it came to the Super Bowls, and I forget what we were talking about, but I said something, and I don't even remember, man. But it was about how I don't care for the Super Bowl and the NFL, and because it's all rigged, in my opinion, right? And I talked to Vince about how if you look at the Super Bowl winners, they always seem to have something to do with something big that happened in the world. Like right after 9/11, you have the Giants and the Patriots, winning the Super Bowls, so it's filling you with that whole patriotic spirit, After Hurricane Katrina, all of a sudden, the trashy Saints win the Super Bowl. See, that kind of stuff. There's somewhere I can't explain it. Like I think the Seattle one was to throw everybody off when they won theirs. The Buccaneers, this last one, I can't figure that one out. But you look at a lot of them, and it's like if something tragic happened in your state, or something like that, they end up winning the Super Bowl, so it like uplifts the spirits and gives that city some type of morale, And I caught this. Right? And I wasn't the only one, I think. But all these games were coming down to 4 seconds, like it was scripted. And they tell you they're scripted because they say the first 10 plays of the game are all scripted. Well, how hard is it to get the script so you know what the other team's going to do? You know what I mean? How hard is it to have a spy in there, pay somebody, bribe somebody to turn over, hey, these are the plays we're going to run when we first come out. So, I mean, it's theater, And I'm like, I have a hard time sitting down watching this when it's not a legit contest. Tug of war, you can look at the people, you look at them and you're like, hey, this side's got some beef. I know what I'm getting myself into, So if I'm going to give myself that time of day to watch it, then I know, I have a good idea of what I'm getting myself into. See, like horse racing, you don't know because you don't know which horse is on drugs. And that's, you better chance watching chess. Just chess takes so long. So, you can find other stuff to preoccupy your time instead of sitting down and dwelling on this. And just remember, like I said, if you go and watch Black Child's Video Productions, he tells you the Masons and the number 4. So I just thought it was interesting that all these games came down to 4 seconds left for a field goal. And then there was just one other thing, and then I'll stop. See, because I was thinking when I told Vince, and he's like, okay, then who's going to win the Super Bowl? If it follows the pattern you're talking about, 4 seconds, not 4 seconds, wow. If there's a tragedy that goes on and the Super Bowl goes to whoever, they reward it to for dealing with the tragedy, whatever state. And I was wrong for the reason I gave, but I was right in the state that I picked. Because I picked California, but I picked the San Francisco 49ers. And I thought it would be because of the coronavirus. I said, remember when Lex was breaking down the coronavirus? And he pointed out that they said San Francisco was ground 0 for the coronavirus. I said, and now look at how they're following everything that everybody's recommending, all the lockdowns, the CDC guidelines. I mean, the government of California wasn't, but they forced it on the citizens. So I'm like, I could see a scenario where they let them win. So they're like, hey, everything you endured, you were the good citizen. Little did I know that they were going to kick off this whole thing with the Ukraine, And I remember, man, I was just like, because I said it was going to be one of the California teams, because you just I said, because just look at the way the state is treating it. I said, there's no way they're going to give it to Florida again, because they're doing the complete opposite. I said, I could see a scenario where they let Florida make it to the Super Bowl just to have them crushed and have their heart, broken, because, it's like the punishment. You didn't go along. You didn't do things the way we said. So there you go. And California did, so here it's rewarded. But I think when I look at this, I'm like, it's obvious. It's obvious. So, like I said, I don't like to do these because they're not important at all. So we'll get back to other stuff, books, and back to the Bible. But I just wanted to give my take on that because I was like, it just started, like I said, my mind tried to put it together, but it was just like, this is too much of a coincidence. It's too much of a repeative pattern with these quarterbacks. So